Good evening and welcome to round 2 of the Aussie Endurance Series on Iracing. And round 2, Algarve International Circuit, Portimão from Portugal. A little bit of history about the track. It opened in 2008. There are 15 corners on the circuit and it's 4.6 kilometres long. The circuit was originally opened and designed for 2 wheels, being the World Superbike Type Championship, and it has been contested here every year since 2008 and is currently the Portugal round. I believe it's round 4 or 5 in the championship. The MotoGP also competes here, but in 2020 they held the Autodromo International Algarve 1000, which was in part of the IMSA series. We worked that out earlier. It's about 254 laps or so it was around this track. And we've got 2 classes racing this evening. The guys are out on track in qualifying. We're going to jump over in just a second and take a look how they're going. We've got the Della P217 or the LMP2s and the GT3s this evening. So let's jump into the live action and see how the guys are going out on track. So we can see currently in the middle of qualifying with around about 12 minutes left to go. Only 3 GT3s and 4 GT4s have set pace on the circuit. Let's jump aboard with Michael. So Michael White's left running in the Audi this evening. Coming around through the back part of the section, up over the blind apex. A little bit of nausea and road sickness for those running in VR this evening with some of the elevation changes, which are thrown in with also some camber changes mid-corner. So coming down through turn 13. Oh, sorry, turn 13, I believe, here. I've accidentally misplaced my track map. Let's pop the standings off for a second and take a quick look at the weather for this evening. Going to be fine and clear, but the talking point will be track temperature 52 degrees for the race this evening. This is going to be very, very punishing on all of the cars for Tyre Life, as we see Michael now entered into his flying lap through turns 2, turn 3, the tight right-hander. Coming up through turn 4. Careful here, the camber of the road changes. That is an off-track. Very, very punishing for off-tracks around this circuit. Down the hill into the braking zone. I found it a little bit more beneficial to go right deep into the corner before turning in to get a better exit. Up over the hill, down into a braking zone again, drifting around. Hard down on the brakes. Up over the hill. Get the car settled there, drifted in and hard onto the brakes again. Right through there, you want to be able to get a tight entry into turn 13 here, right into that ripple strip on the inside. Let the car drift out. Turn 15, a little lift through here and then hard back on it. The LMP2s will be flat out through there, I no doubt. And that is a circuit of Algarve Portimao in Portugal. Matt doing well in the Ford Mustang. And jumping ball with Scott Mackay in the LMP2. Jared Eastman in the Deadpool Ferrari. And Black Norman in the Porsche. So Gordon McCulloch has dropped out of the LMPH. They've dropped into the GT3s along with Michael Artlett as well, also in the GT3. Michael yet to put a time down, which is why we're not seeing him on the timing board at this stage. Thank you to a Logical for the raid. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're all enjoying it. Scott Mackay drops the back of the car out there on the ripple strip. So guys, welcome to the stream for Aussie Endurance Series on iRacing. This is round 2 at the Autodromo International Algarve, or Portimao in Portugal. The drivers are currently out on qualifying with approximately 6 minutes left to go. We've got Scott Mackay leading in the LMP2 at this stage over John Filligan, John McHenry and Matt Beattie. The GT3 class is headed by Sam Smith with Matt Matofia in the Ford just closely behind. Blake Norman, Gordon McCulloch, Jared Eastman and Michael Artlett, who's also out there in the Audi, who's yet to post a time. For anyone who hasn't tried this circuit, it is a very, very challenging circuit with the elevation changes and the camber changes through corner. As we said, the track was designed in purpose of 2 wheels and not 4, so it was designed for MotoGP and the World Superbikes. But the GT3 cars have been quite successful around this circuit. Seeing a few of the VGA liveries out there. Got Gordon McCulloch in the VGA Porsche. We've also got Scott Mackay and John Billingham Illogical Sports in the LMP2s in the VGA livery. John McHenry there in the locked-on livery for the LMP2. And sitting on now with Scott Mackay, number 72, and then 369 for John Filligan, the very similar liveries for those two cars. Here's Matt Beattie in the all-black LMP2. Michael Artlett yet to set a time in the Audi. There's Philly. Scott Mackay and Matt Petrovic in the pits. Jared Eastman in the Deadpool Ferrari. And the Aussie Endurance Series is running the Endurance Series for the following the IMSA Series. So the club LMP2s and GT3s on track this evening for round 2. This is the inaugural season of Aussie Endurance Series. And the series is open for anyone who wants to come along and try. Just get involved. Get onto the Discord. Contact one of the drivers you see on screen. We can all get you involved in the series. It is a password protected series. You do have to be invited in to get a race number. Once accepted, you can select your car and jump in and out of the league as available. And it's all about getting an experience. It starts on a Tuesday night, so start of the week for iRacing. And good opportunity to get the experience on the track and then go through and feed your skills during the week in the official series, IMSA series around this track. We also follow with the official weather, so this will be the weather for the IMSA series for the next 7 days. Air temperature, we're looking 27, 28, 29 degrees, but track temp is 52 to 54 degrees. Very punishing for the tyres on these cars. 2-hour race this evening. Counting down to our last 60 seconds worth of qualifying. Guys, if you're out there watching, jump onto the chat. Let us know how it goes with the volumes this evening. We did have some audio issues for round 1 last week. Hopefully we've got that rectified. I can hear the cars this week. Very exciting with that. So let's jump on board and go a lap around with Jared Eastman in the Ferrari. No, Jared's not going to give us a lap. Here we go. No. So there we go. That is a lap around Algarve Autodromo International, or Portimao in Portugal. Qualifying has been completed. We are looking at the four LMP2s, Scott Mackay and John Filligan for row 1. Row 2 will be John McHenry and Matt Beattie. For the GT3s, which will be approximately 10 seconds behind the LMP2s at start on a rolling start, we've got Sam Smith in the Ferrari and Matt Petrovic in the Ford off of row 1. Row 2 will be Blake Norman in the Porsche and Michael Artlett in the Audi. Michael finally managed to get a lap down in qualifying. Gordon McCulloch in the Porsche and Jared Eastman in the Ferrari for row 3, and row 4, Brad Cooper, a late joiner there, missing out on getting a qualifying time. He will be bringing up the back in the second of the Ford Mustangs. Let's go through and take a look at some of the liveries that we've got. There's Gordon McCulloch in the fantastic VGA livery on the Porsche. And Michael Artlett in the Audi. And Blake Norman in the second of the Porsches. Matt in the Audi Ford Mustang. And Sam in the Ferrari in the Shambles livery. It looks like we are still waiting for one more car to join the grid. As the cars move away for the warm-up lap. You see Scott and Philly off the front line. Row 2, John McHenry, Matt Beattie will be the other of the LMP2s. Yeah. We've got Sam and Matt off of the front row for the GT3s. And then Blake in the grid Porsche. And Michael Artlett in the Audi. I can't quite make out that livery at this stage. And Gordo in the GT in the Porsche. Blake Norman. And it's not going to give us Brad Cooper by the looks of it. Brad may be starting from pits if he has managed to grid up. Hopefully Brad's been able to grid up and he'll be doing a start from pit row. So watching the cars come down around through turns 6. Excuse me, apologise for my cough this evening. Race car rolls its way through turn 7. Up the hill. This is an absolute shocker in the Ford Mustang because the vision is absolutely terrible thanks to that front spoiler scoop on the bonnet. And you're really just looking at skyline coming up through there. down through turn 8, back up the hill again. And then down and around through Craig Jones. Out of Portimo into 11, 12, down to 13. And it'll rise up over the hill into turn 14, which is Sarges. Again, the track falling away. See what Scott McCoy is. We come around through turn 15, the final 15. This should be the start of the race. Get the GT3s gathering at the back there. And I'm pretty sure Scott would have preferred to have been on the outside here for this. It's quite a tight entry on the inside of the track into turn 1. But we have green light, and Scott has the jump, and the guys have filtered out quite well here. Although it looks like Matt Beattie may have got the run. No, he's going to be pushed out wide here. John McHenry's going to slide through. The guys have done well. Let's see how the GT3 fares. Everyone through there cleanly by the looks of that. Fantastic start from these guys. Everyone being very, very patient on this first lap. Cold tyres on a hot track. Turn 4 will be a focus through there as the road changes camber as you're up over the hill. Rolling down now into turns 5 and 6. And it looks like we do have a car. Looks like Matt Beattie has had a bit of an issue in the LMP2. Sitting now just in front. Yep. So running on board here with the battles going around the track. Everyone doing well on the first lap, just to be patient. Let the cars come up to temp, let the tyres come up to temp. And we can see the lap time is starting to roll through for the drivers now. So Scott Mackay on a mission on lap 1 to try and get some free air out there, 135.8. And same with Sam Smith out in front of the GT3s, a 152.8. But it does look like Gordo and Michael are going to be having a bit of a battle at the back there. Gordo finding some good pace in the Porsche early on in this race. And John Philly doing well here to sit on the back of Scott Mackay. Both of them made comment when they found out that Tim Hancock was going to be away this week due to work commitments. Both Scott and John wanted to put their hand up for a bag full of points. And we're not expecting any rain today, so this will be a run all the way through the race. It's how well these guys can manage their tyre life from here on in. And if you've got any bets or if you've got any decisions at the moment on who you think will take out the class, I think we can see Blake Norman running yellow at the moment. If you're in the chat, let us know who you think is going to take out the class win for the LMP2s. Will it be Scott, John, or Matt? Let's jump back to Bordeaux. Fantastic battle with the Porsches going on here, I'm seeing on the timeline. Oh, they have to be careful for their off tracks and their 1X around here, 25Xs, and there is a time penalty and a points penalty for the drivers. And this track is punishing for track limits. Oh, a bit of a glitch there for Blake Norman. Hopefully everything's okay. Just the 10 cars on the grid for this evening. Let's fingers crossed that all 10 cars can remain connected and make it through to the end of this race. Sitting aboard here with Gordon McCulloch on the back of Blake Norman, the two Porsches running together. So currently third and fourth in class. And Sam Smith is enforcing himself at the moment with the pace in the Ferrari out front. Already a 5.2 second gap between first and second. But a very close battle rolling on here between the two Porsches. Michael Arlett's trying to come to terms with the Audi at the moment. He's fallen to the back of the Ferrari. Currently sitting back in sixth in class. It looks like this is the battle to watch at the moment, the two LMP2s. There is definitely not much separating the two drivers at this stage. Everyone finding it trouble through turn 4. Bottom of the hill with braking zone, Toro VIP, turn 5 through turn 6 is flat out. Settle the car through turn 7, braking zone, a little loose there for Philly. Turn 8 of Sansung over the top of the hill into the blind, down into Craig Jones at the bottom, now coming up through 10 and 11. And turns 13, 14, Sarge is a little tricky left-hander. Coming down the hill, the camber rolls away, and then it's pretty well flat out down through 15. newest, well, one of the newest cars into iRacing, the Ford Mustang. Big throaty V8, very similar to the AMG. And Matt had a great drive last weekend to come through in second place. And this has got to be my favourite livery. The Deadpool car for the Ferrari for Jared Eastman. And the focus tonight will be driving to within your limits and maintaining the car. Spending the least amount of time in pits. It is a great track. There is plenty of runoff if you do have an accident, if you get a bit deep or you lose the back of the car. It's not too punishing other than tyre life. There is plenty of open space here because it is designed for MotoGP or the superbikes. It gives us the extra space on the outside of the track if things go pear-shaped. And Gordon just losing a little bit of time to Blake now. The tyres are starting to wear a little bit, pushing those cars a little bit too hard. You've just got to back out of it, let the tyre temps come back down a little bit. 52 degrees for the track temp for this race. Very punishing for the car tyres. It looks like the LMPs have caught up to the GT3s. We're watching Scott Mackay work his way through the two GT3s there. And John Philly just not far behind. And they were making conversation earlier about where they were going to find spaces around this track for the cars to make an overpass. I said turn 3 and turn 4. As we've just seen John Philly through there. I actually said turn 3, but meaning turn 4 was a perfect opportunity. The GT3s have to settle and go wide. The LMP2s can have that extra downforce, can force their way up the inside. You see John Filligan and John McHenry have all made their way through. So Blake Norman has set his personal best lap of a 146.9. He is on fire at the moment. In that Porsche, he's only half a second, well, 3/7 of a second off Sam's time. And for anyone who knows Sam's pace, that is blistering. I had the Ford running around here in the 148s in practice. A 147 was definitely on the cards for me, but there was it was going to be punishing to maintain that sort of lap pace around here in this temperatures. So to rattle off a few of the world records around this track, during the 2020 Le Mans Cup round, the LMP2 was Mikael Jensen in the Porsche, the LMP2 was 129.67, and Julian Angelou in the LMGT3 Porsche was 140.79. but we are banking on that they didn't have a 54-degree track temp at that time. The other is the Ferrari GT3 488 Evo, the old one from 2022. Dorian Pin in the Ferrari Challenge has a lap record of 144.6. Excuse me for my coughing. Currently sitting with John Philly, coming right up onto the back of the Porsche of Gordon McCulloch at the moment. Just being a little bit patient there, trying to find his way around. Coming down through turns 13 and 14. Making the pass up the inside. John getting caught with a little bit of traffic. Scott Mackay has managed to get a 3.1 second gap now between first and second in LMP2. And the cars all spreading themselves out now around the track. We haven't got any real solid battles going on at this stage. The drivers are just managing their cars now, getting into the rhythm, finding the sections of the track where they've got traction and grip, and finding sections where they have to be a little bit conscious and roll out of it. Especially for the GT3s, there is a lot of areas around here. You've got to be patient on the throttle. You can't get into it too early. And in the braking zones, you have to get your braking done and then trail brake into the apex. If you overcook those brakes, the changes of camber on this track are quite vicious and do throw the back of the car around. Easy to get very unsettled around here. But everyone doing well. We've only seen a couple of minor incidents. And so far, lap 10, we're 15 minutes into this race. So the Aussie Endurance Series runs every Tuesday night following the IMSA series. So duplicating the tracks throughout Series 3. This is the first of Series 4, the Aussie Endurance Series. Last week they ran the 2 hours at Watkins Glen. And if I get myself organised here, I'll quickly try and bring up the schedule. Season schedule. So round 3 next week is Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit. And then July 2nd is the Daytona International Speedway Road Circuit. July 9th is Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. July 16th is Autodrama Jose Carlos Pace. A lovely circuit for the Grand Prix circuit there. July 23 is Fuji Speedway with no chicane. July 30 is Road America Full Course. August 6th is Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya, the historic circuit. August 13 is Circuit des 24 Hours das Mars, so Le Mans. And that will coincide with the NEC 24-hour endurance series, which will also be followed that following weekend at Le Mans. August 20 will be the Virginia International Raceway full course, and the final round for this series and season will be August 27, Circuit of the Americas. Cotter will be very, very challenging for a mixed series, that is for sure. Hope you're all enjoying the stream. We see everyone's settling down now. John Phillies looks like he's got a little bit of space between first and third. He can have a bit of a breather now and just follow through on his rhythm. Blake Norman looks like he's made a bit of a game. We'll pop back and see how Blake's going. Blake finding some really good time in this Porsche at the moment, matching the times of Sam Smith out the front. And it won't be long before he is putting serious pressure on the back of Matt in the Ford Mustang. For everyone in chat, if you can jump in and just let me know how the volumes are going this evening. We did have some audio issues last week. I really hope that I've got all those sorted out. And if you are following someone or you want to check out something around the track, let me know. We've got Scott Mackay at the moment, being the enforcer in the LMP2 with a blistering 135.74. John Philly overcooking it on the previous corner. The tyres will be a little bit warm at the moment. Just have to be careful, waiting for the tyre temps to come back down again, the grip levels to come back up. You see the gap now between Blake Norman and Matt, second and third in the GT3 class. Porsche versus Ford. And it's a bit of a Porsche attack there because we got Gordo hanging just off the back of that pack as well. So Ferrari, Ford, Porsche, Audi, Ferrari in the GT3s. It's the Dallara P217 making up the LMP2 class. And if anyone has the opportunity to try the Ford Mustang, it is well worth the drive. I've had a couple of practice sessions in it, and I look forward to getting back full time in the rig and getting back into this competition very soon. My pace at the moment, I would be sitting around somewhere between 4th and 5th at this stage on my early pace from practice sessions earlier in the week. And my car for this series is the Ford Mustang. And hats off to anyone who can drive the Porsche, because it is an absolute monster of a car and it has a personal hate relationship with me. Every time I get in the car, it hates me. You see Blake Norman over half a second faster that last lap. I'm thinking Matt is struggling with the tyre temps. Everyone says lap time starting to peel off here. We're 13 laps in. 23 minutes into this race. They all are running the endurance set, so they can go all the way past mid-race before requiring a fuel stop. But it could be whether any of these drivers are going to have to contemplate a two-stopper tonight to compensate tyre wear. We see Blake clearly has ultimate pace in that Porsche at the moment. And Blake's going to try and make the move down the inside into turn one. The Porsche predominantly would be better under brakes into here. He may be able to get the crisscross. He can't quite get it done. He's just going to have to tuck in behind now. Coming through turn three. And then turn four uphill, rolling out, change of camber. Conscious not to drift wide and get all four tyres over that white line. That is a 1X. We're not seeing too many incidents tonight. Fantastic drive from all of these drivers. The track temps and conditions are certainly not easy out there. I'm sure all of these drivers will come out of this race tonight very keen to get on this track in the officials, after having gained the experience of a 2-hour event on the Tuesday night. These drivers will be able to get out there and milk a little bit of I-rating this week, I'm sure. The Aussie Endurance Series is designed for experience in multi-class racing. And the 2-hour races are fantastic. They allow for a mistake or two, and you've still got the time to make that back, get back out on track, keep doing your laps. We saw last week the cars right down to 14th and 15th on track scored points. So it's not about coming first or second, it's about maintaining your pace and driving within your limits and learning how to master these cars, not only in a field of GT3s but through multi-class. And a lot different track conditions this week. Last week we had a cooler track around Watkins Glen and the second half of the race was wet. This week the weather is all clear. So let's take a quick look. We'll just get rid of that for a second. So the weather at the moment, the track temp has actually calmed down from what it was in qualifying. Currently 48 degrees, air temp 29. It is 4:20 in the afternoon race time, so we can hopefully expect that track temp will come down throughout the race. As we can see, the air temperature is slowly decreasing as we pass through. A little bit of cloud cover coming through. That may cause a little bit of track temperature to hang around. Not much breeze out there to cool things down. And we see very similar here for the track. The track is dry, marbles and dust are left on the track. And race is carried over from qualifying, so the track will continue to grip up or rubber line. As we see the LMP2 making his way through the GT3s here. So Matt Beattie very nervous there. I thought he was going to tag the front of the Mustang. But everyone's very cleanly. Hope you are enjoying the stream this evening for the Aussie Endurance Series. Round 2 at Autodromo International Algarve, or better known as Portimao. Alright, let's do a lap on board the new Ford Mustang. We'll see how difficult it is to see out of the front of this car with that front bonnet scoop. Difficult braking zone down here, down the hill. That's the perfect line through that corner. Brake deeper out wide, turn back in and get the exit. Out of turn 5 through turn 6. Car settles, turn it in through here. Straighten it up into the braking zone for turn 8. Referred to as Samsung. Blue sky over the top here. Point it forward and hope for the best. Down through Craig Jones. And again, little braking zone just there. Get the car rotated and turned around. Braking zone down the hill again. Up the hill into turn 10. Very tight, little corner tightens up on you through to turn 11. That was his Scopic high slide through the outside. Turns 13. 14 and turn 15. A little lift up the top of the hill and then back into the power. That's a lap around Portimao for Autodromo International Algarve. Riding aboard with the Ford Mustang in Iracing for the Aussie Endurance Series. And Scott McCoy, who's the leader of the LMP2 class. John McHenry running third in the LMP2s. Oh, lock of the brakes there for Matt Beattie.
Just go inside next one up.
Matt just lets him slide by through there. Doesn't want to get involved with the leader of the LMP2s. Bust out braking himself there. Very easy to do. Sorry again for the cough. Battle still going on between Blake Norman and Matt Matovic. The safety car parked up off the side there, the F250. All the safety crew lined out around this track in the case of an emergency. Right, we've seen plenty of the GT3s. Let's see if we can jump aboard. Much different vision out of the front of the LMP2 for sure. Down through turn 14. hiding into turn 15. This will give us a good indication of the elevation changes for this circuit and the difference that we've got between the LMP2 and the GT3, the massive amount of difference they get with the downforce on these cars. That's a lap around Algarve in the LMP2. There is a vast amount of difference between the vision out of the front of the LMP2 versus the GT3 cars. And everyone's still rolling around through this race. We haven't had any serious incident yet to talk of. 23 laps up and 35 minutes into this race. Everyone being very well behaved. You see Philly just move up the inside of Jared there. It looks like John McHenry also just on the back, coming through. Yep. And Scott Mackay going up the inside there of Blake Norman. Oh no, sorry, Blake's on his outlap from his pit stop. That would have been Gordon McCulloch in the and Gordon McCulloch also on his outlap. The Porsche's pitting for tyres. Landing on a two-stopper would be my guess. So Matt Beattie at the moment obviously had some issues in a tow into pits. Let's see if we can take a quick look back at see what Matt Beattie did to manage the tow. All good through the first sector. Of the rear of the car getting a little bit loose all the way around this circuit. We'll be struggling with some tyre life. Yes, the guys will have to be careful for the X's on this evening. There is a points penalty for anything exceeding 25X in a race. Just losing the back of the car through there. Tyres were done. I think that was the choice. Blake Norman, after his pit stop on a fresh set of rubber, is hunting down Sam Smith. See the advantages that the fresh rubber on that Porsche is having over the Ferrari. See Blake Norman headed back on lap 19, so only four laps on those set of rubber. Versus Sam in the Ferrari has been out there for 23 laps now on that set of tyres. And now it's time to start questioning, what would you be doing if you were driving in this race at this stage? Would you be planning on a two-stop strategy for tyre life to take advantage of the extra pace you can get on a fresh set of tyres? Or would you be looking for going long into the stint and trying to punch out consistent times without cooking the tyres? As we see John McHenry now bail into the pits for his first pit stop. We can't actually say, I'm not too sure, it must the LMP2s must be getting close towards the end of their fuel window as well. They will definitely be a two-stop pit stop strategy for fuel. And we're actually looking at Blake Norman. He is a lap down at the moment because they have completed their pit stops. So we're looking at first and fifth in class. But looking at this, it looks like that Gordon has reaped reward from his pit stop in lap 16. He was sitting behind Blake before he'd completed his pit stop. So the undercut has definitely worked for Gordon in the Porsche. There's John McHenry just overcooking it on fresh tyres. Right, almost 50 minutes down into this race now for the Aussie Endurance Series. This is the multi-class racing on iRacing every Tuesday night. As we see the leader, Scott Mackay, come in for his first pit stop. And we've been expecting that, and also Philly in as well, we can see coming down pit lane now. So all of the LMP2s have completed a minor pit stop. So far in the GT3s, only the two Porsches. And Sam still punching out laps, managed to pull away from Blake Norman. So Sam still putting in the 146s. The Porsches looks like they have dropped off the pace. If we can just take a quick look. I can't quite read under there. Let me take off our standings for a second. Track temp now 46 degrees, so track temp continues to drop. So these cars will find it much easier in the second and third stages of this race to maintain tyre life and maintain their grip levels. The track will also be rubbering up and adding additional grip. As we've seen, we should see the GT3 cars should be able to go through to 32 or 33 laps maximum for their pit window. Another 5 laps. Oh, actually, still 15 minutes to go before halfway mark, and they should be able to just dip into the hour for the GT3s, depending on how they're driving fuel saving wise. So based on their current times, they may actually be able to get 30, another 8 laps out of this. So 36 to 37 laps could be the maximum stint for that Ferrari at the front at the moment under Sam Smith. Anyone watching as a fuel calculator out there that can punch a few figures for us? But I'm pretty sure Sam won't be able to go past 37 laps for compulsory pit stop for fuel. At the moment, sitting on with John McHenry in the LMP2. Currently sitting second in class. So he has made advantage from the early pit stop. So it looks at this stage the undercut may be working early. Just having a look at the two Porsches are now came out of the pits on fresh tyres, really did struggle. We have seen the the Porsche now into the 147s and 148s, but Matt Matovic in the Ford Mustang, a 146.6, put down a personal best so far. 28 laps in on an old set of tyres. The fastest GT3 on track at the moment in second place is the Ford Mustang. And John Philly on a fresh set of tyres has just put down the fastest lap for the LMP2s. Currently sitting third in class, a 135.565. At the moment, he gets the 1 point bonus for fastest lap of the race in class. But there is still plenty of racing to go in this event. 2-hour race this evening, and we are 1 hour and 12 minutes in it, so still 73 minutes of racing to go. Hope you're enjoying the stream. I do apologise for my perpetual cough this evening. The two LMPs coming up on the back of Gordon McCulloch at the moment. So you're seeing in the VGA Porsche. And John McHenry had a PB on that last lap, a 135.8. So the LMP2s are really flying at the moment. They're enjoying the track temperatures starting to decline. And Sam Smith in a league of his own, punching out a 1:45.9 in the GT3 Ferrari. A clear 3 seconds faster than any of the other GT3s on track. Michael Arklett has slid up into third position while we're sitting in between the round of GT3 pit stops. Michael just putting in consistent laps, and it is starting to pay off for the Audi. And John Philly has made his way past John McHenry. We'll see what the number 369 LMP2 can do. Now he's got some clean air in front of him. Very clean racing from all of these drivers this evening. We're not seeing any major events or incidents occurring across the track. Unfortunately, Matt Beattie has had to tow into the pits. But all other drivers are continuing to rotate around this circuit without any serious incident, which is great to see. We don't want to see the multi-class cars being tangled up with each other. We want to see the guys being able to race freely around this circuit. Scott Mackay holding a 13-second margin over John Filligan in the LMP2 class. And then there is a 1 second gap between second and third. We've seen John Philly overtake John McHenry in the last lap. And in the GT3 class, we've got Sam Smith at the moment controlling the pace of the GT3s with a 40-second margin between P1 and P2. Matt Matovic having a fantastic drive in the Ford Mustang at this stage, having a commanding margin over the Audi and Michael Arklett. But the two Porsches have completed their first stop. Looking at their tyre life of those Porsches, they could be looking at a two-stop strategy here. Be interesting to see how that plays out. They found real good pace coming out of the pits on fresh tyres, but that pace soon washed off. And we've got Jared Eastman having a solid drive in the Ferrari, running consistent laps. Just having a look, it looks like Sam Smith is moving up onto, see if it's going to give us Sam coming up around the back of Gordon McCulloch. Now the interesting talking point here is we've got a Porsche that has completed a pit stop. Their tyres are 14 laps old. And then we've got the Ferrari that's been out there since the start of the lap. The rubber on those Ferrari is 30 laps old. And the endurance lights on for the front of the Ferrari. Can he get the job done? He is going to get into the braking zone. Auto just gives him plenty of pace there, lets him through. Not the time of race to be tangled up with the leader of the GT3s. Gordon's running his own race here. He's got a strategy in mind and he's driving to it. We were trying to calculate before how many laps these GT3 cars can go. We reckon 36 laps will be their maximum at the moment, coming around for the 32nd lap. So 3 more laps to go for the GT3s before we'd expect to see the field start piling into the pits for fresh tyres and fuel. The LMP2 cars, we're expecting for them to pit around about the 85-minute mark, giving them 35-minute run down to the line of a full tank of fuel and fresh tyres. The number 55 Shambles Ferrari for Samuel Smith. One of the alien drivers for VGA. Sam's agreed to help me out with my driving style and try to improve my pace throughout this year. I look forward to getting back into a couple of sessions with Sam. Trying to refine my driving style to find that extra half a second per lap. Sam moving up on the back of Michael at the moment. And this will be putting Michael a lap down, and he will not be happy about that at the moment, but there's probably not much he can do fighting with the tyre life in the Audi. Thank you, Scar. Scar jumped in the chat and said to say g'day. Who are you barracking for this evening, mate? Oh, sorry, that's Tim jumping in. Yes, everyone's made the comment earlier, Tim. They're trying to gain a little bit of advantage. Scott Mackay and John Philly fighting it out for maximum points in the LMP2 class for you. Trying to gain a little bit of hay while the sun is shining. Yes, Tim, it's been very warm. The track started at 54 degrees in qualifying, but we are moving now. I think it's around about 5:30. It's coming up to 5 p.m. live time, so the track temps are falling. It's around about 45 degrees track temp now. So, and the track has rubbered up quite well. We can see the guys pulling down. Some great times. John Philly, I think, still holds the fastest lap for the LMP2s. And Sam Smith, obviously, the fastest lap for the GT3s. A very challenging circuit for the Autodromo International Algarve, or Portimao. So the circuit was originally opened in 2008 and it was designed for the World Superbike titles and the MotoGP. So it is a motorcycle track predominantly, which is why we have so many open spaces on the outsides of these tracks. The motorbike riders don't like slamming themselves into walls. So it is a good track to, if you're going to have an area you've got plenty of space to run off on, and some good sand traps on that to catch the car. But it is very challenging with the elevation changes and the changes in camber around this circuit. More challenging for the GT3s than the LMP2s, that is for sure. So jumping aboard with John Filligan at the moment. He's got John McHenry just behind him. These guys have been having a good battle for the last 5 or 10 laps. John McHenry got the advantage pitting that lap earlier, coming out on fresh tyres, got the undercut over Philly. But Philly has managed to gain the advantage back on track, coming out and setting the fastest lap on his first flying lap on fresh rubber. And the GT3s and LMP2s are doing a great job around here, keeping out of everyone's way. They were concerned at the start of the race about how easy the cars were going to flow around through here. But as we can see, there is plenty of width on this track circuit. Easy to go 2 cars wide through these corners without interfering with either of the other class. And at the moment, Matt Beattie has been the only casualty for this evening. He has manually retired. Scott Mackay, the leader of the LMP2 class, making the move around the outside of Michael Artlett. And Michael has dropped down from the LMPH class to drive the GT3s this evening, along with Gordon McCulloch. Gordon in the BGA Porsche livery. Just sitting him there, just in front of Billy. They're both doing a great job in the GT3s. They haven't had a lot of practice. They had been running the LMPH prior to today, but making the decision to drop back to the GT3 class. And Scott Mackay just making the move up the inside there of Sam Smith. And we have crossed over the halfway point now, 57 minutes to go in this race, and that is it. Sam is the first of the GT3s to make their pit stop for fuel and tyres. We've also seen the Audi for Michael Artlett come through. Obviously, the 2 Porsches for Gordon McCulloch and Blake Norman are on a 2-stop strategy. They did try to do the undercut early in the race. They came out and had fantastic race on new tyres. But we can see from their lap times that was not successful for them in the long run. It will be interesting to see how this fares, because Gordon McCulloch also coming in for his second pit stop. Be interesting to see where Blake Norman sits if he remains out on track at this stage in location to Sam Smith and Mark Matovic's, as we wait for the GT3s to come back out on track. Now there's also Mark coming through in pit lane. So let's see where Blake... So Blake at the moment coming through turns... Where we're coming down the hill. And up the hill through turns 6 and 7. times now for the undercut that the Porsche tried, having pitted on lap 19 for fresh tyres. And it does not look like that early undercut has paid off very well for the Porsches. Both Porsches struggling with pace on old tyres. We can see Blake also coming in now, making the second pit stop. Hopefully the track temperatures should be cool enough now for the guys to do a full run. We'll quickly take a look. I'll take the timing schedules off. And we'll take a look at the current weather. At the moment, track temperature is now 41 degrees. Much more acceptable for racing around this circuit than the 54 degrees we had at the start of the event. As we can see, the air temp is still 28 degrees, so we may see the track temperature continue to drop down into the mid-30s. A little bit of cloud cover lingering around at the moment. I hope you're all enjoying the stream. Currently sitting with Mark Matovnik in the new Ford Mustang. Looking across those times, it is almost 60 seconds, or just over 60 seconds stand time from start to finish for a pit stop around here. So around about half a lap. There's the second of the Porsches. Complete their out laps, along with Jared Easton in the Deadpool Ferrari. And again, Jared doing a fantastic job this evening, driving within his limits to be maintaining consistent pace around this track, and has him currently sitting fourth in class. And Philly doing all he can at the moment to try and close down that margin to Scott Mackay. There's still 14 seconds, been fairly consistent margin between first and second in the LMP2s. And Philly managing to keep a little bit of a margin over John McHenry in second place. But we have seen that the undercut can work around here. John did it successfully in the first round of pit stops. So with the track temperatures coming down and the air temperatures coming down, we could see the last 30 minutes of this race to be an all-out sprint. And Sam Smith has just set a new fastest lap for the GT3s, a 144.5. But we did see earlier the two Porsches lap around in the 145s on fresh tyres. And we could be seeing a 135 from the LMPs as the conditions continue to improve. The track continues to rubber up and the grip levels increase with the dropping of the temperatures. And as we mentioned at the start of the show, the circuit opened in 2008, but it has held a round of the Le Mans Cup. They did do an Autodromo International Algarve 1000 in 2020. And during that race, Michael Jensen was the fastest LMP2. The track record is a 1:29.6 seconds. And during that event in the GT3s, the Porsche 911 from Julian Angelo was the fastest GT3 Holster lap record, a 1:40.79. Considering this track and these conditions that they would have been racing in, outstanding track times. But something closer to where we are seeing today in 2022 during the Ferrari Challenge. Dorian Pin is a driver we should be all familiar with from the GT3 series. He was in the Ferrari 488 Evo. His lap time, or the lap record on this track, is a 1:44.6. Sam Smith in the new Ferrari, very, very close to the track record from the Ferrari Challenge. Sitting with Gordon McCulloch, only two GT3s now sitting on the same lap, the Ferrari and the Mustang. Michael Arlt had been the winner from that last round of pit stops. Now he's moved himself up into third position in the Audi. Blake Norman and Gordon McCulloch will be ruining their decision to take a two-stop strategy for this race. But we'll take you through the cars around this circuit and show off the liveries that we've got for this evening. Gordon McCulloch running in the number 382 VGA Porsche livery. Jared Eastman running in the Deadpool 247 Ferrari. Jared driving out there with the Enduro lights ablaze. Blake Norman running in the SimGrid Porsche livery. Michael Arlett in the Audi. We can get a side-on picture for the livery that Mike was running on his Audi. And we've seen plenty of Matt in the last 2 weeks in the Ford Mustang in the Audi livery. Dan Smith in the Shambles Ferrari. And Matt Betty in the pits is in the all-black LMP2. And then John McHenry in the locked-in livery for the LMP2 in the number 117. Aussie makes his way around the outside of Jared. On the hunt on the back of John Philly at the moment. And then Philly running in the VGA livery for the LMP2. Running the number 369. Just throwing the back out a little bit there. A little heavy on the brakes. And John McHenry just threw down a PB, a 135.7 that last lap. So he is now well and truly on the back of Philly, and he's going to make life very, very difficult if Philly is struggling with a little bit of high life now. He's been pushing a little bit too hard. Just want to refocus here, consolidate himself, get back into the rhythm. Do not want to cook those rear tyres. At the moment we're looking at the closest battle on track. This is second and third for the LMP2 class. And there's Scott Mackay out the front, just taking his way past the number 2 GT, well the number 66 GT3 for Matt Matovic. Looks like Jared Eastman having a little bit of trouble with the rear tyres on that Ferrari at the moment. Few yellow moments for him at the back. .43 minutes to go for the Aussie Endurance Series on Iracing, running on every Tuesday night following the IMSA series on iRacing. We're replicating season 3. This is round 2 from the Autodrome International Algarve. Or otherwise known as Portimao. These cars will look at have been doing around about 72 laps this evening over the 2 hours, and it is quite a grueling track. There's not a lot of rest. We've only got one straight over the start finish line, and that straight is only around about 800 metres long. The rest of the track is very much focus orientated, downhill braking zones, blind apexes, blind exits, elevation changes, camber changes. It's a very, very busy track for the guys driving these cars. We've seen everyone else do it, so let's take a look at Michael. Jump aboard and do a lap around here. Looking through the cockpit of the Audi. A much clearer vision than what we saw out of the front of the Mustang for sure. Coming down the hill into turn 5, this is Toro VIP. Flat out through turn 6, coming back down into the braking zone, get the car settled, Get it through, straighten up, hard on the brakes. Through turn 8. A big hold your breath moment for anyone running in Veep. Through turn 9, up into turn 10, turn 11, tight right-hander, down through turn 12, turn 13, hold it tight through 14. You don't want to get too wide through there, it will throw you right out off the other side of the track. A gentle lift in the GT3s before nailing it. And that's a lap around Algarve, looking through the front windscreen of the Audi GT3. You can see the Porsche from Blake Norman sitting right on the back of the Audi now. Their lap time's very, very similar. And Gordo also not far off the back of this pack. So it could be the Porsche start to hunt in pairs. If you'd like to get involved in the endurance racing for the Aussie Endurance Series, you can find us on Discord. You can contact one of the drivers you see on screen at the moment. They will be able to get you involved. Once you have been approved and issued a driver's number, you can then get into the league servers. It's a great group of guys running through here. It is a practice lobby for the IMSA series. These guys are willing to help you out if you're new to iRacing or you don't think that you've got the pace. It's not all about flat out pace around here. It's about learning the skill and acquiring the skills to be able to drive in multi-class. And it looks like the margin is starting to close up for the LMP2. So now 9.4 seconds. It did stretch out to 18-second gap at one stage. And looks like that Blake has made the move on Michael, but Michael's going for the switchback here, trying to get up the inside. And Philly's sitting off the back as well. Looks like Blake's been able to get the move done. As we see the LMP2s moving through that same space on track at the moment. Sliding up the inside of Gordo. As we see coming around through here now, Philly just patiently sitting off the back. The guy's giving him space, easily managed to make through there. I think Blake might have been a little bit blind there, wasn't expecting to see an LMP2 pop up in his mirror, that's for sure. Oh, getting very, very deep under brakes there and losing the rear of the car. I think John McHenry was hoping that the guys were going to give him a little bit more space through there. They just closed the door on him, forcing the back of the LMP2 car to step out a little bit. That will be something that will certainly make the replay wire for sure. Let's go back and take a quick look Sorry guys, I've lost my camera. Let's jump on board and see how that looked through the windscreen. Michael moves out of the way, just overcooking it a little bit through there on the brakes. This is what Michael would have seen. Just giving him space. Yes, I don't think there was much in that event. I think it was a little bit ambitious from John McHenry to get up inside there. He should have just been a little bit more patient, but we'll have a look at that later. The challenges of multi-class racing, especially when you are in a tight position running for P2 or challenging P2 in class. But the LMP2s have made their way through the GT3s now, so Philly's got some clean space. We'll see whether he can close that margin down on Scott Mackay. At the moment, 11.5 second gap between P1 and P2. We've got Sam Smith having a commanding margin at the moment, almost half a lap over P2 of Matt. The Mustang doing a great job, and he's got over 5 second margin. There's a car behind him. We're just seeing that Gordo sliding up the inside of Michael. Michael goes for the crisscross through here. I think the Porsche is just going to be too strong. Michael wishing that he had the downforce of the LMH right there. The Audi just feeling a little bit loose for him. He wasn't planning on running the Audi until earlier today. Michael not willing to give this position up easily. Certainly going to make Gordo pay for it, work for it. But these two drivers showing us how it can be done around this circuit. You are able to race competitively, give each other space. With 31 minutes to go. It's now all out sprint towards the line. 90 minutes of racing have been put away. The guys have racked up 50 laps. can see Scott Mackay come through on the back of these cars. The leader of the GT, of the LMP2s. Once again, I apologise for my coughing this evening. And the LMP2s have all completed their last pit stop now. So the margin 11.2 seconds between first and second. Unfortunately, John McHenry, being involved in that incident, has lost 15 seconds to Billy. They're still sitting here on the battle between 4th and 5th in class in GT3 series. We've got Gordon McCulloch in the VGA Porsche and Michael Arlett in the number 65 Audi. Both of these cars last pitted on lap 34, so 16 laps out on track now. The track temperature should be quite comfortable for these cars. The tyres should be at their maximum grip. Philly throwing the LMP2 around there. I almost thought that he was going to lose the back of that car. But again, the LMP2 is finding plenty of grip now. The track temps have lowered. And Michael's not going to let Gordo get away with this in the Porsche. He said the Audi's still got pace and he's going to prove it. He's hanging right off the back of this Porsche. And we've got John Philly now hit the fastest lap for the LMP2s. He is on a mission. 3 seconds faster. That last lap, he's now closed the gap down to 8.5 seconds between first and second. Scott Mackay is going to have to be conscious of what's coming up behind him if he wants to take out the lead of this race. This is Scott Mackay, the current leader in class and on track, just working his way through the GT3s. Jared Eastman in the Ferrari, just giving him some space. And this is John McHenry at the moment passing his way through the GT3s, back into this very similar position they were last time. Sneaks through there cleanly. And Gordo lets him through. So John McHenry on the hunt, but I think the margin now between second and third is going to be too great for him to make up, unless Philly makes a mistake. Philly's got his eyes on the prize. He is on the hunt, running down Scott Mackay at the moment. Close that margin down. Philly set yet another fastest lap for the GT3s. He's got the 1 point margin at the moment with a 1:35.347. Closing that margin down to 7.6 seconds. See the GT3s all finding some pace at the moment. They're all enjoying the track temperatures dropping and the air temperature's dropping. Jared Eastman having a great drive, driving to within his level at the moment, running consistent in the 150s and 149s. As we said earlier, it's not all about at pace, it's about gaining the experience in multi-class racing. All of these drivers are at different levels out here on the track. All at different skill levels, all at different I-rating levels. All out here enjoying the race. And we've got Matt putting down a PB in the Ford. The Mustang now sitting in second place at 146.46 seconds. But as we can see, Sam Smith in the Ferrari, just another class above at the moment, holding a commanding lead. And seeing John McHenry make his way past Jared Eastman. Down is the braking zone of turn 1. Jared doing exactly what he should have done there. The GT3s just hold their line. The slower class car have the right to the racing line. It is up to the higher class cars to find the opportunity to overtake. Philly, the man on a mission at the moment, fastest car on track. Scott Mackay putting down a PB of a 134.35.1, but John Philly in another league at the moment. He is on a mission with a 134.9, the first 134 we have seen this race. Definitely the track temperatures playing a big part in the pace of these cars now. And it does look like that Gordon has managed to get a little bit of a breather now over Michael Artlett. So the Porsche has managed to gain a few second margins. As we see Blake Norman, the third in-class GT3, coming to put a lap down for Jared Eastman. Jared allows him to move around the outside. Let's just take a look at where the margins are between here. So got Mackay coming downhill onto the start-finish line. And John Philly just coming around on the start-finish line. That is our margin or our gap. If we quickly just jump behind here, we can see the car forward on track is the car that John is hunting down. And John needs to be careful of the off-tracks through here. He won't want to get 25x up in this race. That will be a point penalty. This track is quite severe for track penalties for running wide. We can see the leader of the GT3 class, Sam Smith, just in front of Philly at the moment. But if we look at the moment where the number one here, the blue number one on the track circuit, the blue number two is directly coming past Sam at the moment. That is the track gap. Around about 400 metres between first and second in the LMP2 class, and 20 minutes left in this race. So this is Philly coming past Sam. And that margin now down to 7 seconds. Billy got some clean air now. We're looking at the number one, the blue number one on the track map, and the orange number two on the track map. That is the margin between 1 and 2 for the GT or for the LMP2 class. And there's not much competition going on at the moment in the GT3 class. Lake Norman has a margin at the moment in third position over Gordon McCulloch in fourth. And Gordon has managed to clear the air between the Porsche and the Audi. Michael now sitting back in fifth place with Jared Eastman in sixth. So Philly now focusing on every apex, every exit, trying to get the most out of this car. Is he successful in closing this margin down again? No, next to nothing separates them on the last lap. Billy is going to have to pull a rabbit out of the hat if he's going to pull this off in the next 17 minutes. As we see the Mustang parked up on the side of the road there. That's Matt Martinovic. He is having some troubles. Let's just see what happened there. Has he overcooked it? Disconnects maybe? Or family intervention? Occasionally we all do have to take a momentary step out of the rib to deal with something happening inside the household. But this could be... The car just pulls up. Perhaps something happening inside the household, I would say, from that. Nothing sinister. And everyone moving again. So we've got Scott Maguire has found another few tenths in his car the last lap to push that gap out. 7.5 seconds between first and second in LMP2 class. And John McHenry would be ruining the moment. He got caught up with the GT3 class across the top of turns 14, I believe it was. Just seeing Scott Mackay there make the move past Gordon McCulloch. Gordo like making the last minute decision to switch between the LMH to the GT3. And Philly just weaving his way through the GT3 class there. But 15 minutes left to go in this race. Scott Mackay just needs to keep his head level and keep the car pointing forward. No serious mistake now from him, and he will take it home to the flag. Really selling comfortably in second place now. It will come down to who has the most amount of X's at the end of this race. Who has been the cleanest driver on track. The VGA cars there. Just showing each other the livery. Sticking his arm out the window and waving g'day to Gordo as he swung past. This league was established by Veterans Gaming Australia. Veterans looking after other veterans. The Aussie Endurance Series running on Tuesday nights, replicating the IMSA series. Great opportunity to get yourself involved in a mixed class event. Easy, the guys have got their own Discord page. You can catch up with any of them, hook up with anyone you can see driving tonight. They'll be able to get you involved. There are some posts on the Iracing Australia Facebook page as well for links to the event. Starting from 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Times, with a 40-minute practice and a 20-minute qualifying prior to the 2-hour race. Today we are running around in session 2, Autodromo International Algarve. John McHenry just making it look hard work there, moving past Jared Eastman in the Ferrari. But got through there cleanly. And looks like Philly may have cooked the tyres on that LMP2. The Dallara is dropping back in pace. The margin now 9.5 seconds. It done a fantastic job to close that gap up, but not able to get the job done at this stage with only less than 12 minutes to go. It's looking like the podium is pretty well set. At the moment, we've got the bonus point going to John Philly for the fastest lap in LMP2 with a 1:34.9, and Sam Smith with a 1:44, I believe it was, in the GT3. Jared Eastman finding some pace and confidence in the Ferrari as the temperatures come down and the fuel burns off. He's getting very close to his PB. He has got a 1:48. And Michael Arkler pushing hard in that Audi, but looking like he is losing a little bit of race pace too. Struggling maybe a little bit with the tyres now, after having a massive event. But the Ford sitting in second place doesn't need to worry about his pace, just setting a PB of a 1:46.382. Thank you very much. The Ford Mustang is showing to be a very competitive car in the GT3 class. Everyone was concerned about the BOP and its ability to match it, but at the moment, in the hands of the correct driver, it is shown to be ultra competitive, as well as also setting a podium at Le Mans just recently in the real 24-hour Le Mans. Also having some great pace at Daytona as well as Sebring earlier in the year. So it'd be great to see the Mustang come to Australia next year, hopefully. Be nice to see the Mustang and Corvette face each other in the Bathurst 12-hour. But you're watching the Iracing Aussie Endurance Series on TVJP Sim Racing. I would normally be driving in these events, but unfortunately carrying a bit of an injury at the moment, which is keeping me out of the sim rig. So happy to bring these sessions and these races live to you so you can enjoy a bit of broadcast. Enjoying the stream this evening. I'm hoping the volumes are all much better than they were last week. We did have some audio issues for round one. Amazing when things update and reset all your settings. It's a needle in a haystack to find out which setting has actually overridden itself. But we did find it deep embedded in the PC, overriding everything. Riding a ball with Scott Mackay, they're leading the LMP class. At the moment, currently a 10.7 margin between Scott Mackay and John Fillingham. Philly having a great drive to try and close that margin down, but just running out of tyre life, I fear. But it has been a little bit of a battle of the pit stops. So John McHenry take the first pit stop of the LMP2s and did manage an undercut and jump out in front of Philly after the first round of pit stops. Philly did have a fantastic battle with John and did manage to get back into second place, and they were fighting ferociously through the pack. Unfortunately, John McHenry got caught up with a couple of GT3s in a very, very tight braking zone. Big throaty volume of the twin exhaust on the back of that Mustang. Counting down now, 6 minutes left in this race. Thank you for joining us this evening. Hope you have enjoyed the stream. And not much change across our grid between Gordon and Michael. The only two change from our starting positions. The Audi is lost out to the Porsche. As it sits at the moment with 5 minutes left to go in this race, the LMP2 class, Scott Mackay over John Filligan and John McHenry and Matt Beattie. Unfortunately, Matt had to step out of the rig. unfortunately not able to continue in this race. We hope everything's okay there, Matt. And for the GT3 class, Sam Smith over Matt, the Ford Mustang proving to be a very strong competitor in this field. And then Blake Norman coming through in the Porsche for third place at this stage. As we're looking at Sam Smith at the moment. And now coming through, John Philly coming up on the back of the Mustang. Easily slides down the inside. Drivers doing well to give the other classes good space. And Sam showing us that it can be done around here on a full tank and one set of tyres. Had some outstanding pace in the first session before the pit stop. He ran all the way through 35 laps, I think, completed on one set of tyres in blistering heat and still managing to put down 146s. A very impressive drive from Sam, as we would expect every week. And Scott Mackay and Philly reaping the reward at the moment of Tim Hancock not being available this week. Tim watching the stream. So making the most of the opportunity to get a bucket load of points and trying to scratch back that separation between Tim Hancock, Scott Mackay, John Philly and John McHenry, also having some outstanding pace. You can see they're all pretty well set aside in their pace. It's only been minor incidents or minor moments around this track that has separated the LMP2s. And there has been some great battles and challenges in the GT3 class as well. As we see Jared Eastman just step aside there, letting Philly through. But it is time for these drivers now to focus with just 2.5 minutes to go. They always say the most amount of accidents happen closest to home, and it is the concentration level after 2 hours of racing around the Autodromo International Algarve. A very, very demanding track mentally. There is not much rest around here physically or mentally. It's a long period to be focused as John McHenry lights up yellow. He's just stepping the back of the car out, we would assume. We're looking at this 2 more laps. We would have 1 more lap then plus 1. So Scott Mackay will be past the start-finish line before the clock gets down to 0. So still 2 more laps for these drivers. Hopefully everyone has their fuel calculator correctly. And for you watching out there, take a think back at what your favourite moment of this race was. If you had been out on track, would you have followed through the strategies? Would you have been the pace leader? Or would you have set the pace out there? We know Tim Hancock would have been the pace leader out there if he had been on track in the LMP2. But fairly consistent for the pit stops here. They've pitted around the lap 26, I think, and lap 53. The GT3s with Gordon McCulloch just throwing down a PB of a 146.9 in the closing minutes of this race. It looks like Gordon had a little, Gordo had a little bit of a moment coming down the start-finish line. We're seeing the white flag coming out now. So we are on the last lap. So Philly just making his way up the inside of Blake. The last of the drivers coming now through. This is John McHenry and Jared Eastman coming through to the white flag. They have just been alerted to their last lap. But we will now jump aboard with the leader of the LMP2 class. Little squirrely through there. Very low on fuel. Tyres are probably feeling a little second hand at this stage. Just got to keep that focus down for 2 more corners. Coming around through turn 15 onto the start-finish line for the checkered flag. And Scott Mackay takes out round 2 of the Aussie Endurance Series on Iracing. John Philly coming through for second place. And Sam Smith, the leader of the GT3s, coming through now. Taking the checkered flag for the GT3s. As the guys all line up. Lighting them up, as Michael always does. And the Audi getting into the donuts now. As we see the Mustang throw it in sideways. As all the cars now jump in. Lighting the tyres up at the end of the race. Fantastic event, guys. Congratulations to all the drivers competed. Unfortunate for Brad Cooper, not able to make the lobby. Did not get a single lap in for the race. Unfortunate for Matt Beattie, who had to step out of the rig after 20 odd laps into the event. But only one real incident to talk about that we've noticed, and I'm sure that will be reviewed at a later date. The question now is, how many X ratings have these drivers got? They're 1X for every off track, and this track is punishing for anything outside of the line. A few cars were drifting wide in the danger zone. We would expect that maybe the driver on track now, Sam Smith, may be the only one with 0X, if it was at all possible in this evening's event. Guys, we'd like to thank you for watching the stream this evening. Hope you have enjoyed it. We'll be back again next Tuesday night from 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Times with round 3 of the Aussie Endurance Series. Until then, guys, enjoy.